Shabbat Shalom. This Shabbat we read Parashat Vayeshev. Jacob dwelt. In this week's Torah portion, Jacob seeks to sit, to rest. You might say to retire. Be that as it may, in reality, this parasha begins another chapter in Jacob's life of instability. This week, we come across a very problematic issue. Jacob's sons intend to kill their brother, Joseph, in cold blood. Now, murder appears in Genesis several times. Cain kills Abel. Esau plans to kill Jacob. But they are not part of the family of Israel. And this week, they are. They are the 12 heads of the tribes of Israel. In our parasha, we discover the darker side of our forefathers. The Bible points to a possible cause of this hate. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him. Then we see what comes of his dreams. Genesis 37. Any reasonable person would ask, is having one or two dreams a cause for murder? The answer is that the sons of Jacob knew and understood that there are two types of classes in their house. There are the sons of Rachel and then the rest. There's nothing to be done about it. And in truth, it's not Joseph's fault. But it was Joseph's dreams that opened the eyes of the brothers. So not only does Jacob think that Joseph is a preferred son, up until now, Joseph was a spoiled little brother who would tattletale on his brothers. But now, Joseph thinks so too. And he dreams that his brothers are bowing to him. In the wake of those dreams, the brothers' frustration turns into hatred. And this hatred leads the brothers to plan murder. Eventually, they compromise on the sale of Joseph into slavery. Today, I will try to focus on the spoken word. Speaking comes as easy as breathing. Furthermore, we need speech as we need air to breathe. We use language in every step of our lives. Many verses in the Old and New Testament warn us to be careful what we speak. Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. Words can build or destroy. When we are told that we look bad, our mood drastically drops. It can actually ruin our day. We are told how negative we are, and automatically we are dragged down. We have great power and great responsibility. If we emphasize the bad, it will gain momentum. With our words, we can cast people into dark pits. Positive words penetrate deep. They have the power to elevate a person out of the negative self-image and empower them. Emphasizing goodness is a life-saving remedy. If you want to give somebody a good day, we'll go up to them and tell them how good they look today, how fresh and how energetic they look. And it doesn't really matter how they felt up until now, because from that point, their day will improve. James chapter 3 focuses on the tongue, our communication with the environment. I think that verse 2 is the key. We all stumble in many ways. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. Take ships as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. The tongue has the power to guide and direct, just like a rudder. James uses these examples to illustrate the power of the tongue. The rider controls a large, fast, and strong horse with a small piece of iron between the horse's teeth. And so the sailor, with a small rudder at the back of the ship, can steer in whatever direction he pleases. Both the bridle and the rudder must control the wild nature of the horse in the winds, in the storms that the ship may encounter. Same as the tongue. It is small, but able to control our body and that of others too. With speech, we can influence others for better or for worse. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. James chapter 3, verse 5. James is comparing the tongue to fire. Everyone knows how important and how beneficial fire is. Who of us would be able to get along without fire? Nobody. But everybody also knows how dangerous fire can be. So too the tongue. In this example, James explains to us that no matter how big the forest, the smallest flame can burn it completely. So too the tongue is very dangerous, especially because we usually underestimate it. The unbridled tongue can cause death or plan murder, as is the case in our parasha. Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dreams and what he had said. Genesis 37, verse 5. Why in the world does Joseph tell his brothers, who are already jealous of his status, such dreams? And to tell his brothers about more such dreams, what reason in the world? At the beginning of the week's parasha, the Torah tells us that Joseph was a little informer who tattletails on his brothers, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Genesis 37, verse 2. There are commentators who try to explain the verse by saying that Joseph cared for his brothers, and therefore he told his father about their negative behavior to improve them, that Joseph actually had his brother's best interest in mind. But as a result, his brothers hated him, threw him into a pit, and sold him as a slave. Talking about evil made them more evil. We must be wise when we use our tongues. It is not always wise to speak, even if we try to help, or even if we have good intentions. The results are what matter. In summary, to tell someone he had gained weight will not help. In fact, it will have the opposite effect. Such a comment, even if it comes from good intentions, will cause tension and will certainly not lead to a positive result in the relationship. The Old and New Testament require of us to have wisdom and judgment in the words we utter from our mouths, so much that Yeshua came out with a dramatic statement. Yeshua said, "But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned." Matthew 12, verse 36. Out of the same mouth comes praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. James 3, verse 10. At some point, we will have to decide, are we going to be a spring of life, a source of living water, of hope, encouragement, caring, speaking the truth with love? The answer should be yes. Shabbat Shalom.